Maybe he just picked it up. Picked it up? How could he pick it up when it was so small? I don't believe you. Zhang Yufan frowned and followed Zhichu to the second floor of the middle school. He continued to ask, even if he picked it up, how did he know that you were Zhichu? Zhichu asked back. Am I not easy to recognize? That's true. With his mixed-race face, Zhichu was one of the most popular students when he first entered the school. However, Zhang Yufan still found it strange. I was scared to death just now. When I saw Song Yu's armband, I thought you were done for. Zhichu held onto the stairs and gasped. Was it necessary? Why not? You broke the rules on the first day of school and even met Song Yu, a cold big shot, on duty. When he pulled you, I thought he was going to do you on the spot. When they were almost there, Zhichu turned around and shushed him. He quickly walked into the classroom. Coincidentally, the class monitor was taking attendance. Zhichu tried his best to hold his breath and stood at the door. His hair was curled up from running. The homeroom teacher, Wang Qian, was a young male teacher. He taught Chinese and could get along well with the students. However, he was also ruthless when he was strict. Fortunately, Zhichu had always been the representative of good students. He was never late, never skipped class, never caused trouble, and had good grades. Miss Wang didn't give him a hard time. Come in. However, Zhang Yufan wasn't so lucky. Wang Qian had a playful smile on his face. Isn't this the permanent guest of the tardiness team of Class 8? Miss Wang, Zhang Yufan touched his buzz cut. I'm just 2 steps behind Zhichu. Yes, I think it's good to be more standard. Wang Qian clasped his hands behind his back. From today onwards, you are only allowed to be 2 steps behind your desk mate. Otherwise, you will be punished by standing in the morning self-study session. Ah? Zhang Yufan frowned. The students of Class 8 who were watching the fun all laughed. What are you yelling for? Come in. After Wang Qian finished speaking, he began to warn the other students. I don't care if it's just a small fight, but at the opening ceremony, behave yourselves. If you're caught by the dean, I won't bail you out. It's fine if you're sentenced publicly. If you become famous in school before entering high school, you won't have studied in junior high school for nothing. Everyone was snickering, except for Zhichu, who had yet to recover from his panting. He tried to stuff his bag into the desk, but he couldn't. Then he realized what was in the drawer. He reached in and took out an exquisite sapphire blue gift box. Strange. He took a closer look. Who gave it to you? It's so cool. I got a gift on the first day of school. Zhang Yufan leaned on the table and teased in a low voice. It's good to be handsome. No, it's not. Zhichu raised his head and glanced at Wang Qian. He opened the gift box. There was an exquisite white fountain pen and a bottle of ink. There was a card on top. He didn't touch the fountain pen. He just opened the card and read the words on it. Then he put it back in the drawer. Zhang Yufan, who was always gossiping, came over. Which class is it from? This fountain pen doesn't look cheap. Zhichu pursed his lips, as if he was thinking. After the opening ceremony, we won't go home, right? No, we probably have to go back to the classroom. Why? I want to go to class 11 and return this. Everyone in the class stood up and prepared to go to the school gymnasium. Zhang Yufan didn't understand Zhichu's action of returning the gift. No way, Lei. If you really return it, the little girl will be sad. Zhichu was a little hungry. He unzipped his bag and took out some bread. He tore it open and bit off half of it. He said vaguely, If I don't return it, she might think that I agreed. But I didn't. That's not right. And I'm only in the 3rd year of middle school. I can't date. Zhang Yufan looked incredulous. Oh my God, where did you come from? That guy in the next class had 3 girlfriends last semester. Fine, you won't understand a girl's feelings when she's heartbroken. Heartbroken, Zhichu really couldn't feel it. But he weighed the seriousness of heartbreak and being cheated and made his decision. I'll talk to her. Zhichu quickly chewed the bread in his mouth and stood up with the other students. A brand new medicine box fell out of his bag. He bent down to pick it up. He wanted to put it in his pocket, but the pocket of his school pants was too small. So he tried to tear open the package, but the quality of the plastic was too good. Let's go. Zhang Yufan pulled him. Oh, okay. The whole school flooded into the gymnasium. When he came in, he found that there was no trash can. Lei Zhichu quickly finished the last bite and folded the bag in half and stuffed it into his school pants pocket. Peia was one of the most famous high schools in the area. Compared to the quiet and thrifty performance-driven education next door, this school was quite Western style. Many students went abroad to further their studies. There was even a saying that only half of Peia's third-year students took the college entrance exam. Plus, the school was rich and could afford to expand. The middle and high school departments had never been separated. With such a large number of students, the annual opening ceremony was naturally a big event on campus. No matter how free and unorganized it was, this day couldn't be wrong. The high school students went in first and sat in the auditorium according to their class. Compass stood in front of them and said, "Third year, class 6 to class 11, please sit in the middle." Huh? Why is it the blue class again? We're going to sit on the floor again. Peia Junior School's summer uniform was light blue short-sleeved shirts, while the high school uniform was white. The winter knitted vest was also the same color. Over time, everyone used the uniform colors to refer to the junior high school. Everyone looked for their seats. After not seeing each other for the whole summer, the first thing the girls did when they gathered was gossip. After all, this was always a favorite topic. "Did you see the confession wall last night?" "No, who is it this time?" "It's a second-year student. She confessed to Song Yu. She wrote a lot and said that she had a crush on him for a whole year." Wow, the school hunk is so brave. Is there a school hunk in our school? Why haven't I voted? No, but Song Yu can be considered to be publicly acknowledged. She actually dares to pursue him. I've never seen him get close to any girl, not even the high school, let alone the junior high school. Hearing Song Yu's name, Lei Zhichu was a little happy, but also a little uncomfortable. His face was itchy. He pulled his hair, looked around, and slowly followed the crowd. The class monitor arranged for everyone to sit on the floor. Lei Zhichu sat at the back of the boys' group. The girls in front of them gossiped about the second-year girl confessing to the senior high school student to the few Peia Junior School hunks. Then there was an argument below the confession wall. Someone said that Song Yu has a poker face and doesn't care about anyone. He's not even as good as Lei Zhichu from the junior high school. I'm dying of laughter, gossiping about my own class. What do you mean by not even as good as him? Le is very good-looking. Isn't his mixed-race face good-looking? And he has a good personality. Someone said that he's too young, but then it became the junior high school and the senior high school. That way, there was no more debate. Ha! Ahaha! That's true. They're the kind of rich skins that stand in a crowd. When are they going to stand together and compare? They can't even stand in the same frame. There's no interaction at all. Jiang Yufan pricked up his ears and listened back and forth. He was speechless. Little Lei is not bad. He's almost as good as Song Yu. Lei Zhichu was so focused on stretching his neck to look for Song Yu in the audience that he didn't hear the girls talking about him. He was a little confused by Jiang Yufan's cue. Huh? Who knew that the girl diagonally in front of him would turn her head at this time with a gossipy face? Lei, what do you think of Song Yu? Except for his personality. This was the first time he was asked about Song Yu in school, since he entered junior high school. Lei Zhichu felt guilty. It was the same feeling he had when he was hiding under the sun to wait for Song Yu. He unconsciously blinked faster, trying to give an answer that sounded more like a stranger's. Senior Song Yu is very handsome, and his grades are very good. But in the end, he couldn't resist the urge to protect him. And I don't think there's anything wrong with his personality. Lei Zhichu's tone was unusually serious. He just doesn't like to talk. That doesn't mean he has a bad personality. Although he looks a little scary, he's actually a very nice person. The more the girl listened, the more she felt that something was wrong. She interrupted in confusion. Wait, how do you know he's a nice person? Sure enough, he wasn't good at hiding. Lei Zhichu was momentarily speechless. Unexpectedly, Jiang Yufan interrupted. Song Yu is indeed a little better than I thought. He was on duty today and didn't report Lei's nameplate when he picked it up. He even helped him hide it from Compass. Really? He's our savior. As expected of a handsome guy. When the ceremony started, the class monitor reminded them to stop talking. Only then did the gossip stop. Zhichu breathed a sigh of relief. He almost exposed himself. With how gossipy they were, if they knew about their relationship, they wouldn't stop. Every year at the beginning of school, the content was similar. The leader's speeches on stage made his soul leave his body. After a while, it was the junior high school student representative. It was the top student in their class. Zhichu was very supportive. He straightened his back and raised his head, trying to listen to the speech. Unfortunately, the lights in the gymnasium were too bright. He gradually lowered his head like a wilted sunflower in the sun. He didn't know if it was because he ate the bread too quickly, but his stomach felt a little uncomfortable. It was like a ball of cotton that couldn't go up or down. Rubbing his stomach, Zhichu looked at the dirty little spot on the tip of his canvas shoes. As he focused his gaze, the little spot gradually expanded, like a dark cloud with low pressure. The applause from the audience was like boiling water pouring into his ears, burning his chest, and filling his lungs with steam. There was a small commotion among the students. His throat was dry, like a feather stuck in it. Zhichu lowered his head and cleared his throat. The new student representative walked on stage. When he got close to the microphone, there was a sharp roar of electricity, like a premonition of a strong tone. The next second, a low voice came from the uncooperative microphone. "Sorry." Zhichu suddenly raised his head and looked at the person on stage. His chest rose and fell. "Good morning, everyone. I'm Song-Yu from grade 12-5 class." His heartbeat accelerated. It was a pathological rate. Like the girl said, Song-Yu's good looks were recognized, but his bones were long and narrow, his eyes were long and narrow, and the corners of his eyes were sharp. All of these gave him a strong sense of oppression and distance. It was difficult to find too many traces of emotion on his face. In contrast, Zhichu's facial features were soft and childish. He didn't have any offensive power. His clear amber eyes were sincere and naive. "Today is the first day of school." Song-Yu lowered his eyes and his gaze fell on the open folder on his forearm. His tone was neither fast nor slow. Occasionally he would raise his head, his gaze calm. Zhichu liked to listen to Song-Yu's reading voice since he was young, no matter what it was. But he didn't feel right at the moment. He wanted to listen to every word clearly, but he couldn't concentrate. The dry itch in his throat became more and more obvious. His windpipe seemed to be compressed bit by bit. The airflow was squeezed in the narrow tunnel, unable to go up or down. Oh no, this reaction was too familiar. Zhichu pulled out the packaging. The sound of the airflow in his lungs was like a bellows. Sure enough, he bought the wrong one. This brand of ordinary bread and cornbread was different except for a logo at the bottom right corner. Everything else was the same. Zhichu suffered from a serious wheat allergy. In addition to the common rubella and throat itching, the most uncomfortable food allergy asthma was the clinical reaction. It would only appear when he was exposed to a large amount of allergens, and it came fiercely. The gymnasium was too quiet. Zhichu could only hear Song-Yu's voice and the increasingly obvious growl in his chest. His first reaction was regret. He regretted leaving the medicine on the desk. Who would have thought that the allergy would act up after just one use? But this thought didn't last long. The instinct to call for help came even faster. His asthma took away his strength. Zhichu leaned forward and grabbed Jiang Yufan's arm. The people around them also noticed something strange. A new semester means a new beginning. Standing on the stage, Song-Yu lowered his eyes and read the script. There was a sudden commotion among the students below the stage. They gathered at the end of a class. A few people even stood up and formed a circle. Students from other classes also noticed something. They craned their necks to look. This will be a breakthrough and a critical point. The accumulation of the past is about to explode. The turning point is just ahead. Song-Yu didn't care about what happened. This was his personality. He only looked up occasionally. Through the gaps of the chaotic crowd, he saw half of the person's face on the ground. "Zhichu, are you okay?" The dean of teaching, who didn't know what was going on, came out to maintain order. "Hey, that class, what are you doing?" Jiang Yufan knelt on the ground and said anxiously, "Teacher, someone's not feeling well." The speech on the microphone was abruptly cut off. There was a clatter. It was the sound of a folder falling. The sound was amplified by the loudspeaker. It was particularly hurried and abrupt. The Dean of Teaching turned around. There was no one on the podium. "It's a mess!" The student from the photography club, who was responsible for recording the entire event, held the camera in a daze. He didn't know whether to chase after the student representative or continue to aim at the empty podium. Something unexpected happened at the conference. Suspending the speech was barely a normal reaction, but the representative on the podium left the stage without saying anything. And this person was Song Yu. This was too abnormal.